We often describe literature, music, and movies as art, but not video games. Why is this form of expression worth less than others? I've felt more emotion from some of the video games I've played than I have ever experienced with traditional forms of art. In the mid-2000s, Roger Ebert declared that video games can never be art. He stated that no one in or out of the field has ever been able to cite a game worthy of comparison with the great dramatists, poets, filmmakers, novelists, and composers. So what is art? The Oxford Dictionary defines art as the expression or application of human creative skill and imagination. By this definition, art can include anything made by anyone. I live in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and every year we have the biggest art competition in the world known as Art Prize. Both professional judges and regular people vote on the best pieces of art displayed around town. There always seems to be some controversy as everyone debates about what makes good art. Let's start by taking a look at this famous piece of art. Do you know who painted it? If you said Van Gogh, you are correct. Van Gogh painted this as a part of a series where he wished to paint a seaside of sand, sea, and sky. Okay, now what about this one? Maybe not as famous? Gamers may have caught onto this one right away. This is actually from a video game called Beyond Eyes, where you play as a blind 10-year-old girl. When people think about video games as art, it is often compared to fine art, such as what we see displayed in museums. It is becoming more difficult to deny video games this status, as museums, such as the Smithsonian, have opened exhibits examining the history of video games. Video games include many forms of traditional artistic expression, such as sculpting in the form of 3D modeling, illustration, narrative, and dynamic music. Let me just show you some of the recent experiences I've had with art in video games. Child of Light is written as a ballad mostly consisting of 4-line stanzas, with rhyming words at the end of the second and fourth lines. The original music also helps bring this game to life. Just listen to this clip. The next game is Guild Wars 2, which is a massively multiplayer online game with an enormous world. You may encounter and interact with other players in the most random areas. Each region and game has its own distinct art style and feel. Here, we see one of the larger cities known as Lion's Arch. It's a major hub for players who wish to trade and sell. The design of the city captures the feel of an old seaside town and has some extraordinary architecture. Finally, in Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, you essentially play as a pirate in the 18th century Caribbean. Some of the historic places you visit make you want to stop and just take in the environment around you. To Plato, art was about imitation of nature, but in the 19th century, photography took over that function, and in the 20th, abstract art overturned the whole notion that art was about representation. Ask different artists or collectors how they define art, and you'll get a different answer. Now, the rise of independent games have brought about some of the most artistic experiences yet. Whether you're blowing flower petals around, traveling across vast deserts, or learning about the indigenous people of Alaska, these games each have their own unique art styles. Let's take a look at a couple other indie games. In Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, you have to solve your way through a series of obstacles in an effort to find a cure for your dad. The storybook-like design takes the player on an emotional journey through life and death. Life is Strange is a 5-part episodic video game that brings a graphic adventure to life. It's kind of like a choose-your-own-adventure book, and the choices you make in-game adjust the overall narrative and results in 2 very different endings. The rise of these indie games can partially be contributed to the different development tools freely available to anyone that wish to get into game design. Some of these tools require no programming knowledge at all, opening up this form of artistic expression to a larger audience. Trying to define art as one specific thing is impossible. Everyone has their own idea of what art means to them. Dismissing this immense, vibrant, and creative medium is a disservice to art. Video games speak to us. They allow us to experience and interact with art in new ways. Even if it's not the type of art you enjoy, I hope you understand that they're just as much part of our culture as other forms of expression, and therefore can be art.